she'll start hitting the ball harder. So she's still young. Let's not forget that she's still very young and many more years to develop. And I think she's too good a player not to make it into the top 10.
Alex Eala, that's been the talk, which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country and there's a big.
Renowned British tennis figure Greg Rusedski has stepped forward with a bold, no hesitation endorsement of Alex Eala, and it's turning heads across the WTA. There was no cautious language, no soft predictions. Rusedski delivered it straight. Writing Eala off this season would be a serious mistake. In his view, she is not just returning. She is pushing right back into the elite tier, with a top 10 ranking firmly within reach. That is not a casual opinion. It is a high-stakes statement from someone whose experience and credibility carry real weight in the sport. And when a voice like Rusedski's speaks with that level of conviction, it demands attention. So the real question now is not just what sparked this confidence, but what it signals about Eala's trajectory, and why the rest of the tour should be watching her rise very, very closely.
I think she needs to improve the serve. The serve, gets you on the front foot from the start, and she's going to get physically stronger. She's got to get more time in the gym, build up the muscles, get a little bit quicker.
Greg Rusedski is not someone who throws out bold predictions without serious thought behind them. His years at the top level of tennis have given him a deep understanding of just how unforgiving the sport can be, how quickly a player's rise can stall if development slows or confidence starts to slip. That is why his strong backing of Alex Eala carries so much weight. When he says she has a real shot at breaking into the top 10 this season, it is not about headlines or hype. It is a calculated opinion based on what he sees in her game right now. He narrowed her path to the top down to two crucial elements: improving her serve and elevating her physical conditioning. A stronger, more reliable serve would immediately give her greater control in matches, allowing her to dictate points rather than react, while added strength and fitness would translate into more explosive shot-making and sharper, more efficient movement around the court. These are not broad or generic ideas. They are targeted, actionable areas that can directly impact results at the highest level. What makes his assessment even more compelling is the fact that Eala is already putting in the work in both areas. Her serve, which has been under steady development for some time, is beginning to show real, visible progress under match pressure. And that improvement is not theoretical. It is showing up in results. In Madrid, she stepped onto the court against the experienced Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, a seasoned competitor known for exposing weaknesses and controlling rallies. And instead of being tested, Eala flipped the script completely. She did not just compete or hang in the rallies. She imposed her game, dictated the tempo, and controlled the match with a level of authority that signaled something much bigger than just a single win. When Eala spoke after the match, she did not lean on cliches or vague praise. Instead, she cut straight to the point and credited her serve as the biggest factor behind the win. She explained that the break before the Madrid Open had been used deliberately to refine that specific part of her game, and the impact was immediate once she stepped back onto court. Everything she had worked on in training translated directly into match performance when it mattered most. When her serve is functioning at that level, it becomes a double threat. She earns quick, pressure-free points while also forcing her opponent into defensive positions before a rally even develops. Against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, that advantage became impossible to counter. Once Eala found her rhythm, the momentum shifted completely and never came back. That is not random success. It is the result of sustained, focused work finally showing up on a major stage. And it is exactly the kind of progression that Greg Rusedski recognized when he made his statement about Alex Eala. He is not projecting blindly. He is reading clear signs of development, consistency, and intent, then projecting that trajectory forward. From his perspective, the climb toward the top 10 is not wishful thinking. It is the natural next step if this level of improvement continues. Still, he also made it clear that talent and technique alone are not enough at that level. The physical side of the game is just as critical, and it remains the other major piece of the puzzle that will determine how far she can go. Greg Rusedski was absolutely right to emphasize the physical side of the game. At the highest level of women's tennis, matches are not just decided by skill. They are decided by endurance, power, and the ability to survive brutal baseline exchanges. The court is covered relentlessly, rallies stretch deep, and every point demands strength, speed, and durability. Eala already has the technical foundation. Her shot-making, tactical awareness, and tennis IQ are all clearly there. But the next leap comes from building a stronger, more explosive physical base, because that is what turns good players into consistent threats against the elite. And the encouraging part is that she is actively working toward that. Training reports and performances both point to a player pushing her limits, growing stronger, and slowly adding that extra layer that can change everything. Then there is the confidence factor, and in professional sport, it is everything. Confidence is not optional at this level, it is fuel. Right now, Eala is operating with real belief behind her. Some of it comes from her hard work finally translating into results, and some of it comes from the growing wave of support around her that refuses to fade. When she arrived in Italy recently, fans were already waiting, showing up in numbers, creating a strong sense of presence and energy around her journey. Eala acknowledged that support, and moments like that matter more than people realize. They reinforce belief, reduce pressure, and remind a player that they are not carrying the journey alone.
Alex is someone I get along very well with on and off the court.
She thanked them, and the emotion behind it was unmistakable. Support like that does more than fill a stadium. It reshapes an athlete's mindset. It becomes fuel on difficult training days, especially when progress feels slow or distant. For Eala, that backing is not fading. It is expanding, following her from tournament to tournament and building a powerful sense of momentum around her rise. Then comes an even bigger layer of validation. When a figure like Novak Djokovic, widely regarded as one of the greatest in the history of men's tennis, publicly shows belief in a young player, it carries real weight. His support for Eala has been consistent, not accidental or momentary. From early praise during the Australian Open to continued encouragement, he has made his stance clear. When a voice of that stature speaks with such certainty, it immediately changes the way Eala is perceived in the wider tennis landscape. Beyond results and rankings, what really stands out is how she has handled everything that comes with rapid rise, pressure, expectation, and constant attention from fans and media alike. Being placed under that kind of spotlight at a young stage is never simple, especially when every performance is magnified and every moment is analyzed in real time. Yet she continues to show remarkable composure and maturity. Wins do not push her into overconfidence, and losses do not pull her off balance. She responds with calmness, focus, and a level of emotional control that suggests she is built for long-term development rather than short-term bursts. That kind of stability is rare, because pressure usually exposes cracks, but in her case, it is revealing consistency and character instead. She stays grounded, respectful, and present in every situation, which is exactly what allows her to keep progressing without losing direction. This is where the confidence from Greg Rusedski becomes more understandable. His belief is not driven by hype or speculation, but by visible improvement and a clear upward trajectory. He sees a player who is still refining important parts of her game, yet already showing the mindset, discipline, and work ethic required to compete at the highest level. The idea of a top 10 breakthrough is not framed as fantasy. It is framed as a logical outcome if this level of growth continues, and that belief is reinforced by what is already happening on court. Small but significant improvements, especially in areas like her serve, are starting to influence matches in real time. As those elements continue to develop, they do not just add to her game, they redefine it. Combine that with her mentality, and the picture that emerges is of a player steadily moving toward a higher tier of competition, step by step, with everything still in front of her.